The In It Together with Lori Lynn Green talk show is a positive way to start your day. Ready for some encouragement?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm pumped. Let's let the healing begin.
Come be inspired, hear moving stories, even laugh out loud.
Can't make heads or tail of what I'm saying.
Just incomprehensible.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
You'll hear real people doing real things to make a real impact.
You are heroes every day.
Hear honest, compassionate, engaging issues you care about.
You see people come together to do good in our community, and the more we come together, the more good we can do.
Listen in and get started on redesigning your life and hear what's positive in Greater Manchester. Here's your happy host, Lori Lynn Green.
Good morning, friends in Greater Manchester. Welcome to In It Together. We're so glad that you've tuned in. If you'd like to find us on the web, you can go to inittogether.net, listen live or to previous shows, even link to our Facebook and Twitter, YouTube and LinkedIn and Instagram. And if you like and follow us, you'll see that we are bringing out the best in people to influence positive change in this community and beyond. Today is a special community come-together segment. We have special guests Stacey, Bergeron, and Bernadette Trafton, who will be calling in on our live stream. And they are from Boxes of Love for the Homeless. Been doing some wonderful things in the community. So we'll be back right after this brief message, and you'll see they'll be connecting while we're taking this short break. So stay tuned.
Mark Major knows that great coaches need constant training to be effective. As a certified coach, teacher, and speaker with the John Maxwell team, Mark can help you identify and activate your personal and professional goals. If you seek to do more and be more, look up Mark on the web at johnmaxwellgroup.com/MARC-major or call 603-674-6818. Mark Major, growing leaders and adding value.
Hi, I'm Ron Moore, anchor of the Storm Chaser segment, where we'll talk about severe weather in history, science, and today. Join me Fridays at 9 a.m. where it comes your way. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Green.
Hi, I'm Jen Lieber, anchor of the Recovery Now segments. Join me Tuesdays at 9 a.m. where I offer support to families struggling with addiction. Hear personal stories, learn the signs of addiction, and get help for your loved ones. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Green.
Welcome back to In It Together. We are kicking off a community segment this morning. We haven't done these in a while, but we have off and on. But I'm trying to get into this more on a regular basis on Friday mornings. As you can see, we have two special guests here this morning, Stacey Bergeron. Hi, Stacey. And we have Bernadette Trafton.
Hi,
now,
Lynn.
I hope I can hear you guys. Can you talk?
Hi.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear us?
I do not hear you.
Oh, no.
Okay, so we have an audio problem.
Can you talk? Try again.
Yeah, we are.
Okay,
Okay, let me
gotcha.
try one other.
No, I think
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
figured it out. I got to unplug.
Wait.
Well, you don't need to know all the things I got to do here. Anyways, ladies, welcome.
Well, thank you.
Really, really glad.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I think I'll turn it up the volume here. Talk again.
Can you hear us okay? Testing, 1, 2.
Yeah, I think we can hear you now.
Okay, great.
Good.
Yeah, so I saw you the other day with some people that I know on Facebook Live talking about one of the many events that you put on where people come together and they fill boxes for the homeless for some of the things they need, simple things. And you're even connected to some of the organizations that we support here in It Together. And so I was very excited to see that. So I guess I want to ask you, both of you, just kind of introduce yourselves, what your background is, and then we'll get into how you got into Boxes of Love. Okay, so Stacey,
Okay.
what's your background?
Yeah. Well, my background, I'm a mom and I make elderberry syrup, but really,
That's good.
this whole thing started for me. I'm sorry, I'll go to Bernadette.
No, go ahead.
Oh, essentially, this started because I took my son to swimming lessons. My son has autism, and so it's something we do. And I started to see homeless folks on the street, and I had what I think is a pretty typical reaction. I was kind of afraid and nervous. So I won't get into the whole story. I'll give Bernadette a chance to introduce herself. But I'd start out with 20 boxes, just me, and the last minute grabbed one box back from a friend and posted on social media. And my friend from junior high school, Bernadette, I call her Det, nobody else is allowed to, she saw it and started to share it and immediately donated, and we came together, and with her technological experience and my vision together, together we've created this. She's my partner.
Everything's better in it together.
Yeah, it's definitely yes, and it's the whole thing's been spirit led.
Now, how long ago did
Absolutely.
you start this? How long ago was it that it started?
It was just before Christmas.
Just before Christmas, yeah.
Exactly.
So, I'm sorry. So do you want to hear the story about how we got started? Is there enough time for that?
Can I hear Bernadette's background a little bit, or do you mind?
Sure. Hi everybody, Bernadette Trafton. My background is in marketing and as well as in real estate, and marketing to find deals. So when I saw what Stacey was doing, it touched me and touched my heart that, you know, we need to help the people in our country, and this seemed like a good way to start. One of the best ways to start is to give them not only what they needed physically, but also give them some things that would help their soul as well, to let people know that they really, there are people in the community that see them and that really care. So I started sharing it, and it just kind of blew up from there.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. It's the thin threads, isn't it? When you connect, and it's like you just never know who's going to be that. Well, some people say the yin to your yang. Okay, so
yeah, he says that all the time.
Do you really? All right, so I was just curious.
Yeah, I do.
So now we're going to talk about how you got started. I mean, obviously you had to develop an organization and things like that, right? I mean, is it a nonprofit, or if it's
no, I call us a no. I call it us a no profit.
I'm a nonprofit too. So.
And yeah, nobody gets paid. We're all volunteers, and and that includes everybody out there watching. You know, everybody who's given and donated and helped, and we've had beautiful just expressions of love from people. You know, little kids in 4-H clubs who want to make chocolates and leave notes for the boxes. For me, this started as what happened was when I was taking my son to swimming lessons, he, I started to feel, the normal fear and shame. There's homeless people behind me. I think that's really pretty typical, as I said before.
Right.
But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was supposed to do something. So I started out, Ari, with just passing out a bottle of water, a granola bar, and a couple of hand warmers in these little goodie bags, thinking, I'm doing something that's better than nothing. I'm making some kind of connection. And then a man was on the street, huddled, shivering in a blue sleeping bag, and he pulled aside I asked him if he could use the items in this bag, and he pulled aside his sleeping bag, and I looked him in the eyes, and I saw not just a homeless person, but a human being, one of God's children, just like you and me. And it was a physical reaction. I had to do something more. I had to. Mm-hmm. So it started with 20 boxes, and that was all I intended to do until the very last minute when I felt called to get that last box back that I'd given to a friend to give to a homeless person that he had seen around, and took pictures, and then Bernadette saw it. But these boxes, and I've got one with us. Do you want us to sort of let you know what's in it? Do we have time for that?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, you're
okay.
You guys got plenty of time. We got a little while, yeah.
Okay. So this was about actually looking people in the eye and letting them know they're loved, they're cared about, we see them. And so it needed to be more than just what they needed. It needed to be a little bit of hope, a little bit of love. And I'm sorry?
I said, sure. Yeah.
So one of the quotes I love best is from Brene Brown, and it says, "You're imperfect and you're wired for struggle, but you are worthy of love and belonging." And so I asked permission from her organization to use that on our boxes. I don't know if you can see that. And this is what the box of love looks like. And it looks like a present because it is a gift. It is something that we want to give them. They're worthy of a gift, not just the bare necessities. So inside this magical box of love, we have, can you see me okay?
Yeah.
So I have a little baggie with the quote, Brene's quote in here as well, a couple of dollars. Each thing symbolizes something to me. A scratch ticket for a hope, candy, because how often does someone on the street looking for food and shelter get a Lindt chocolate, a chapstick to bring them comfort, and I have a rock. My friend, actually Henry Demers, gave me a bunch of rocks, but when we ran out of those, I'll show you one of those. It says you are loved. Can you see that? And on the other side there's dragonfly. And Henry gave us a bunch of these beautiful stones. So I handed out as many. Those are already packed and out the door. But he told me I could keep one, and I keep it with me all the time. So that's a little bit of what's in the box. But again, the $2 is for something that brings them comfort. It might be being able to sit inside in a warm place and get a cup of coffee. It might be a load of laundry, things like that. We've got some things for protein. So we've got food items, nuts, granola bars, beef sticks. Can I hand those to you? No. We've got Purell wipes and hand lotion, because we're going to use Purell wipes. I mean, their hands are just dry, cracked. It's comfort. These are comfort items. Rescue blankets, 2 of them that reflect 90% of their body heat. We have warmers. We have 2 sets of toe warmers, 4 sets of hand warmers, and a body warmer. And I think we're going to be able to get up to 2. They're kind of expensive, and we're completely donation. Bernadette and I fill in where the gaps are, what doesn't get donated. A warm, nice, brand new, beautiful hat. Gloves. For them. We actually have a great group doing mittens for us now, with polar fleece. These are just some of the cooler socks that we got donated from Twisted Tie-Dye.
Twisted Tie-Dye.
But everybody gets 2 pairs of socks.
I hear that.
And then, pardon me?
One of the biggest issues that they have, I heard, was getting wet feet.
Yes, yeah. It's a big deal. And then finally, a bag to put it all in. And this just isn't good for what we've given them. It's good for not leaving their most precious belongings someplace and losing them. Their IDs, their wallets, and something small they could carry around. And we've had people post. I saw someone walking around with a blue knapsack, and I knew it was from us. It warmed my heart to see that. And I do have a couple pretty magical stories that have happened, if you have time for them.
Well, we'll be here till 9:40, and we'll have one break. So by all means, we're gonna talk away.
All right. So the first time that I hand out the 20 boxes, it was pretty magical enough that I wanted to keep it going. First thing that happened was I handed out, it's like, where am I going to find these folks? And I went to Elm Street, where I started out. I found a group of people, and we started walking down the road. After we had delivered the boxes, and made sure we'd made as much human connection as we could. You matter. This is just a gift. It's a box of love. We see you. And turned around to try to find other folks. They pointed us in sort of a right direction. Where can we find more people? And they said, oh, you can go down to the park. And so we started to walk that way, and a man came jogging up beside us, and he had a hat in his hand from one of the boxes that we had given him. So immediately, they almost started sharing with one another. And he brought us to the 1269, where people were lining up for a meal, and we started to hand out boxes there. He came with us, this gentleman, and I'd given him a box. He sort of hid it, and he moved away so as not to steal our glory, which I thought was, I didn't even get it at the time. He was so humble. And when we were just about done, I had just a few boxes left. He came back to me with tears in his eyes, and he tried to give me back his box. And he said, there are more people that can use this, that there's so many people in need. And he had tears in his eyes. And I said, I'm sorry, I I can't do that. I said, I gave that box to you, and if you feel like it needs to go to somebody else, then it's yours to give.
Wow.
And he started to cry, and so I just held him.
Wow.
And he
I think
said,
I'm gonna.
don't judge people. He said, don't judge people. You don't know what they've been through. Just don't judge us. And then once he could compose himself, he said, yeah, this is my box. I can keep it. He didn't even feel worthy of the box. I gave him another box for him to give to someone else. And I asked him to
That is
please do that.
awesome.
And so thank you. So that was one miraculous thing. It was powerful for me. We handed out the rest. Another thing that happened was there's a woman that goes to my church. Actually, she doesn't go now. She goes to my church, but she had been following Boxes of Love, and she had been struggling with depression terribly, and she wanted to donate. So she showed up at my church because my pastor will post things, so she knew where I went to church, and she lived close. So she came to my church just to donate. That was her reason. She sat through service. She was in tears. I knew something was wrong, but I had no idea that she was there to donate, and that was the reason she had showed up. And as it turns out, the Friday night, this was Sunday, the Friday night before, she had been treated for a suicide attempt.
Oh, wow.
And it was the Boxes of Love that on Sunday morning brought her to find me at church, where she comes now every single week faithfully. It's the one thing she does for herself. Additionally, there was a gentleman we interviewed named Brendan and Doreen. I don't know if you saw that at all, but my friend Paula saw. There are great videos. I hope people will go to our page and watch what the homeless people have to say and listen to their voice, because what we're doing with Boxes of Love is just a little piece of what really needs to be done. People need to hear these people talk about how homelessness starts, what's happened to them, what the obstacles are to getting out of this just whirlpool that sucks you in and keeps you down. But anyway, my girlfriend went to see him because she'd seen his story on my page. She brought him some hand warmers and $20, and she said, I'm a friend of Stacey's. And he said, yeah, I met Stacey, and it was amazing, and she had this glow about her. And he said, what is that? What is that? Is that God? And I thought, if this man feels loved by his creator because we gave him this box of love, what an amazing thing God is doing, not from us, but through us. And there are a million more stories like that. Steve O'Brien, who reached out to us as a formerly homeless man who's now become very active. He's taken me out into the woods. We've gone all over the place. Henry Demers. But one of the most important things we do is we tell their story. We let them tell their story. And we try to do that thanks to Bernadette, in beautifully creative ways and music videos and things like that. So I hope people will check it out. We rely solely on donations and what we can afford to do ourselves. We ask people to donate items, not money. So we have an Amazon wish list on our page, Boxes of Love for the Homeless in Candia, New Hampshire, which they can access through Facebook or Google it, as long as they do Boxes of Love for Candia, New Hampshire.
We'll definitely give them that information by the end of this too. We still have like a minute and a half on this segment, then we'll take a short break and come back for probably the same amount of time we already had. A couple of things come to mind as you've been talking. First off, I'm very moved by what you've been doing. Very moved by it. One of the things that I've learned, because I've known Henry a long time, I've known the people from 1269, and we used to have, 1269 used to have a regular segment on here, and Henry used to be part of that. And one of the things that we used to do is we used to bring the homeless people they were helping on to tell their stories. And that was probably one of my favorite times in my earlier times of the show, almost 4 years ago. And one of the stories that stands out to me was a gentleman who was homeless, who had had emotional issues because he went through a terrible divorce. He was educated, had a college degree. He was in a great job in engineering, and he went through a divorce. He lost his home. He lost everything. And after that, he just had a difficult time recovering from all that.
Right.
And so people don't really, one of the things we like to do here too is break the stigmas that people have about people. Obviously, we covered like addiction and different things that people automatically, it's those people, or, well, if they just get a job, or, people don't realize a lot of us are blessed to have community like you're talking about
family, friends, a church community where we can go and have help or support through our life. I know I have. I've had support through my life in many, many difficult times. And so this is why it really resonates with me, knowing that there are people out there who don't have that. They maybe they're maybe come from a big family and they would never introduced to God or anything like that, so they don't really know what's available to them. They don't, they're very humbled. By the time you're homeless, trust me, you've been very, very humbled, and now you're like, you wouldn't ask anyone for help. You assume everybody looks down on you. I mean, that's a really place to start. You can't go any further down.
Right. Yeah. Including your creator, to feel worthy. I know for me, feeling worthy of God's love was a big jump for me.
Even when
really getting
that issue, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing are the traps. Once you have an eviction or poor credit, you can't get an apartment, even if you could afford it. And we're leaving a whole population out, which is the disabled population, my son being one of them. 75 to 85% of these kids, my son included, are considered unemployable, which means that they live on maxed out Social Security and disability of $750 a month. Where can you live for that?
Well, I tell you,
where can you find?
I'm hoping that things are changing in society, because really, as in your family, in your community, in your country, we should measure how good we're doing based on the least of us, not on the best of us.
Absolutely.
And
this is, to me.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, that's.
I was going to say this is to me what Jesus would do, right? When he went to the leper colonies, he didn't heal leprosy and rehome everybody. Mm-hmm. He healed who was in front of him, right? So if we all just love who is in front of us, which is what this is about.
That is so, so important what you're saying. I really want people to grasp what Stacey just said. It's not about everybody being called to Boxes of Love or 1269 or Harmony Home or all these other. It's finding out what has God put in your heart and loving those in front of you from what you're good at. My husband, right. I'll just say this. My husband and I, our kids grew up and we raised them in a church 25 years, or actually 30, our kid's 31 now, 30 some odd years. And I was very involved as a minister in a church for all these years, and he was very quiet. But people didn't see his ministry was when something broke at someone's house, he was there to fix it. So I'm just trying to tell you to think outside the box, outside of your box, and think about what they're gifted at doing. What's their passion? There are people, we've seen videos of people who go out and cut people's hair for cut hair, help people get clothes, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is.
And what we found, or at least what I found, is that, in this time of just such fear and, political, divisiveness, that for me, it's heartwarming and it's hopeful. Yeah. We say where there is love, there is hope, and many hands make light work. Those are our two things. That's Bernadette's
from my mom.
Yeah, and she's right. We could not do this alone.
Moms know.
She's looking down at us, and I'm sorry, Laura, I lost my train of thought.
Can I just say something? One of the things that's blown me away, and I mean, I've got some stories of meeting different people and everything, but for me, seeing what the community, how the community wants to get involved, part of the videos that I share is saying to the homeless people, because they're watching the videos too, is to saying to the homeless people, hey, you know what? This is your community. Look what they're doing. Look what the Candia Education Association did. And Meg, they donated a ton of stuff so that we could fill over 100 boxes. They brought coats, they brought blankets, they brought that. that's the community. So I want them to know that the community that right now they may be fearful of is not a community that they should be fearful of. That there are so many people. I mean, the first day I started sharing Stacey's original post, we get notifications from Amazon, and I think within a couple of hours, 45 to 50 people had donated with what an average order of $50 to $100. So there are a ton of people out there that want to help.
That is
That's
terrific.
amazing.
Ladies, we actually do have to take a quick break, okay? Just stay right there. Our listening audience, our watching audience, we're really glad you're here. Please stay tuned. We want to share with you some of those that support us so that we can continue to bring this kind of broadcasting. So stay tuned for a moment. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob Bola, Chief Instructor of Defensive Strategies and anchor of the Personal Safety segment, where we talk about personal protection, situational awareness, and home defense. Tune in every Thursday at 9 a.m. and refuse to be a victim. Only on In It Together with Lori Lynn Green.
Mark Major knows that great coaches need constant training to be effective. As a certified coach, teacher, and speaker with the John Maxwell team, Mark can help you identify and activate your personal and professional goals. If you seek to do more and be more, look up Mark on the web at johnmaxwellgroup.com/MARC Major or call 603-674-6818. Mark Major, growing leaders and adding value.
I'm trying not to cry.
Little Leapers and Knowledge Keepers Childcare and Preschool offers learning experiences that give kids a healthy sense of self and meaningful connections to the world around them. We teach children from a positive perspective so they learn healthy conflict resolution and develop character. Owner Jennifer Lever has over 28 years experience in child development. She's helped children learn to read as young as 18 months. Join our happy place where we make happy happen. Located in Pinardville, bordering Bedford and Manchester. Call today at 603-491-1780.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to In It Together in the midst of our community segment today on Friday. Excited to have Boxes of Love for the Homeless here, where we have Stacey and we have Bernadette on our live. We're very excited to have them here. Thank you for staying tuned. Any of you who are listening either via internet radio or Facebook Live, you can either call us at 603-384-3535, or you can comment right on the live stream. Even if you see this after the program, you can make these comments, and I'm sure any one of us can respond to you on this feed. So we would love to hear from you. All right, back to your stories, because these are great. You have some great stories. Do you remember what you were sharing, Stacey? If you don't, that's okay.
Well, it's actually, I do know where I wanted to go next, and I was going to let Bernadette do that, but she got choked up because her daughter Alexa is watching and telling her, "No crying on TV, Mom." So I'll start it, and Bernadette can take over when she composed herself. So one of the other really great things is that, the many hands make light work thing. Bernadette had this great idea to create a Boxes for the Homeless group that would basically, we'd share everything we know with anybody who wants to start this in their community. And so one gentleman, Robert Gagnon, has started a program called ICU in Rochester. He's doing fabulous. I'd ask for prayers for him. He just lost his dad. Amazing man. He just ran with it. He called me up. He said, "I need to do this." And it started because he saw our post and he decided to make a box of love for someone. So he used a lot of the items we had, and he ended up talking to these folks and filling their propane tank. And he was moved. He was called to this too. And he said, "It chose me. I didn't choose it." And I think that's probably true for all of us.
Get this pull in your heart.
And
I feel like within within your ability to do something if you see a need that you need to meet that need.
Well, just the more love, the better. You can never have enough, right? And this problem is nationwide. Homelessness is just profound, and it's something so many people don't understand. They don't understand the shelter situation. They don't understand that going into a shelter means you need to be there by 6 or 6:30, and the likelihood that you will pick up body lice, bed bugs, hepatitis C, just scabies, you name it, is pretty high. Not to mention just the illness that goes around the shelter. People packed in like sardines, feces in the bathroom. This is not a place people want to be.
Right.
People who have
your video. I did see one of your videos where you were talking to a gentleman. I don't remember his name, but he was actually saying that he was homeless. A lot of people goes, well, just go to the shelter, and he was actually saying that same thing, that he had issues before and he just couldn't. I mean, when you're homeless as it is, the last thing you need is having an affliction of some kind.
Exactly. And and there are reasons that people, their jobs in the shelter, and if you don't do your job. So one gentleman who delivers trash for the city leaves in the morning 5:30 to do that, hauls 1,000 bags of garbage a day. His job at the shelter was to bring out 2 bags of garbage, but he had to do it at 6:30 in the morning. He was already gone for work. So he was actually asked to leave the shelter for 5 days. Now he's somebody who lives in the shelter, so he's not prepared for the elements.
Right.
So the rules are really hard and strict. It's not an easy life. And when you're out on the tracks, and I understand our first responders are so overworked, so I don't want anybody to misinterpret what I'm saying. I mean, I believe there's PTSD out there in the first responding community, but a lot of these homeless people, stay in our tents. The way that they evict them is they cut up their tents, they break their tent poles, and they destroy their stuff. And there's videos of that also. Somebody walking the streets for 48 hours because everything that they had is destroyed with what little that they had. And this was someone who was seeking treatment at the methadone clinic, living on $500 a month, who had kind of a pretty at least stable and safe setup, and also had to pay because he didn't have insurance to go to the methadone clinic to try to get help. So there are all these layers, just all these layers.
Too, because there are a lot of people. It's like, well, we shouldn't have tent cities in our community, and it's like, actually, you're right. And if it bothers you, why don't you be part of the solution? And I don't think cutting up tents is the solution. I think, like you said, find out their story, find out their story, and help them where they need it. And that's what I think we're doing well in this community. I have a dream that we will be a community called love because we have so much going on here.
Yeah, I don't think we can eliminate the darkness, but we can light a lot of candles. We can just, and I just want to go back to the group again. We also have, we have other folks. Christian Ayers is another one who's interested in starting. I know you love Christian. I loved Christian's story. He showed up at Henry's place with bags, and I'm like, I need to meet this kid. And he showed up at our event, which you saw as a Facebook Live event. And so I was supposed to meet with him today, but my back is out, and he is sick. So it worked out that we're just gonna have to reschedule to sort of get the logistics down. But for anybody out there who wants to do this in their community, we will support you. Bernadette will help with the graphics and the videos. I will help with the Amazon wish list, whatever we can do to help facilitate.
What town are you in right now? What town are you in right now?
I live in Candia. Bernadette lives in...
I live in Derry.
Okay, so is there someone in Manchester yet doing this? Or I know you support people. Oh, you're in Manchester too. Okay.
Yeah, the reason that we focus on Manchester is more homeless people are in that area because that's where they get the services that they can get. So we figure we can do more good there. But I've had people in Derry reach out to me. Are you doing this in Derry? And we want to do it. We want somebody to take hold and do it in their area. And we're willing to help in any way possible. If they need me to do video, if they can get me the videos, I can, from their, phone or whatever, I can create the videos to add to their pages. Whatever we can do to get the message out so we can help as many people as possible is really our goal.
And even one woman who was at the event that we threw, which was our first event, because just getting enough items to make 100 boxes takes quite a bit of effort. but her husband's a firefighter, and she reached out to us to say, I could see, the firefighters wanting to help in some way, which I thought was a beautiful gesture. We don't unfortunately have enough boxes to supply them, but maybe we can help them figure out a way that they can, reach out to the homeless, because there's just, I really want to make it clear that as much as I don't want people tearing down tents and I want things to change in terms of that stigma, I think there's a lot of healing that needs to be done in the community between the homeless and the city. And that's on both ends. So, we've got some thoughts about maybe a spring cleanup and trying to bring the homeless out, or, doing things we can help, to sort of bridge that gap slowly and gently so that we move forward with that. So it's another idea.
I think what's really been helping our community over the last, I'd say, 5 or 6 years is organizations are coming together, like having a conversation. What's really going on and why are we repeating the same things if we could be doing, find out what your thing is and let's support each other and know where everything is so that if we can't help you, somebody we know can help you.
That's already happened. So when I was handing out boxes with my husband on Monday, a woman who is 8 months pregnant came up to me, and Steve pointed her out, and her name is Crystal. I'm sure she wouldn't mind me sharing, but it just turned out that in the donations that we received, there were beautiful baby things. And I asked her what gender her baby was. It was a girl, and of course, everything we had was beautiful girl baby stuff. So I have a bag waiting for her for when she finds a permanent home, with beautiful baby blankets and little baby tights and little hats and onesie, just great stuff. And Bernadette and I tend to help out as much as we can with the pieces that are missing. But it's amazing the way, as we're going through those donations, finding like, oh, this would be so great for George. This would be so great for this guy that we knew who was living in his car. And, there's so much joy in doing that.
No, you have to hear this. So George is living out of his car. He's having a, tough time keeping warm. And we're going through the donations and we find an electric blanket. And we're like, what are we going to do with an electric blanket? Stacey pulls the plug out and it goes into a car plug. So,
right.
So God is working in,
and that's how this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. We're not running this show. I mean, we're not. We're moving our feet in the direction that God leads us, and I think that's even part of my back going out. I think I'm supposed to be still and do a little more listening right now. Yeah. But because it's real easy to get caught up in being busy and forget who's running the show. So, hopefully that won't last that long though, because I need to get busy. So.
You like to be busy. Well, ladies, we are actually out of time. I want to give you a second though, if you have any closing thoughts, give some contact information, tell people how they can connect. I know on Facebook you have a page, and then what was cool about one of the areas I went to is that you have a wish list on Amazon. People can go directly and purchase it and it gets sent right to your organization, right? Okay, so go ahead and share that.
So yeah, we have an Amazon wish list, which gets directly sent to our organization, which is my basement, where we assemble things, my home, my kitchen table, and sometimes, we sort of prepackage to go do an event. But that's, those events are really about involving the community, letting other people have the ability to share the love too, because it's like we've lit a fuse, and it just keeps going. So
if they go to Boxes of Love for the Homeless, and they click on the Shop Now button, it brings them right to the Amazon list. And I would say one of the best ways that people can help us get the message out is share the videos, share what we're doing, tag their friends in it. And I'm going to put a special request out for a really big 20-acre piece of land and some construction people who want to put some mini houses on, because it allows them to, that's with a farm, so that they can work on the farm, teach them to fish.
I know
rather than
we'll talk,
handing them a fish.
We'll talk later. I know of a place. I've been actually talking about it for years with someone, and that's a great use of it. And they can farm their own food, and I get it. All right. Well,
and people.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Stacey.
and people can come, people can come to them as well, and they can police their own communities, and there can be trash pickup. The problem is so complex, but I just want to thank you so much for inviting us to be part of your program and helping us get the word out. This is definitely a God thing too. It amazes me. I'm just in awe of what's happened. So thank you so much.
Just like you, it is an honor. Let me tell you, I look for opportunities to be able to share what God is doing in our community. And it was very, very easy to invite you after I saw what was going on and what you were doing. Keep up the good work, ladies. Very impressed by that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, it's humbling to
right back up.
Humbling to serve, isn't it? To do things for others. So we appreciate you both being here this morning. We gotta go now, though. So I'm gonna close out here once I connect. Okay, hold on. This is a kind of a mixed situation. Hold on. All right,
Bye,
so
Alexa.
that concludes today's community segment. If you want to join me on Monday, I will be here for the good life to help you, help all of you with your life to keep moving forward. So you have yourselves a blessed weekend, and remember, we are in it together. Bye, ladies.